Okay. With that said, let's get to best international film. What do you guys have for this category? We'll start with you, Jay.
This is an absolutely stacked category. I feel foolish for some of the stuff that I don't have included on my ballot here.
Yep.
But my nominees are A Fire, the Christian Petzold film that I watched earlier today. So congratulations to A Fire.
All right.
I have the aforementioned The Boy and the Heron. I have Fallen Leaves, which just what a discovery. Again, that was for me. And I have Godland, one of the most visually dazzling films of the year. Mm-hmm. And my final nominee and my winner is Godzilla -1. I think this is an absolutely spectacular film. Who knew that a Godzilla film could make you so damn emotional? This thing really wraps you up and is just such a sweeping epic of a movie that is at once heartfelt, terrifying, thrilling, visually so full of visual splendor. I think it is one of the most kind of honestly made films of the year, which is so rare for a big kind of blockbuster feeling movie like that. So for me, in a year with a ton of great foreign language films, Godzilla -1, one of the great surprises of the year, and for me, just straight up one of the great films of the year. Just maybe the best time I had at a movie theater this year was Godzilla -1.
I don't know why you're surprised, Jay, that movie is so moving. It was written by Hirokazu Koreeda.
Well, it was made by did you guys ever see that movie Lupin the Third, the First, the animated film? I nominated it a couple years ago for best animated. Really good movie.
What's the same director?
Yeah, he moved from that to this, and I never would have. I didn't know that until after I saw it. But it's such a, because I really do like that movie. It's a really good kind of adventure movie, and then this is sort of along the same vein, but just like stratospheres higher. It's more of an achievement. It's it rules.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right.
It's pretty good. That's why it's one of my nominees as well, Godzilla -1 for Best Foreign Language Film. I also have A Fire from Christian Petzold, Anatomy of a Fall, The Taste of Things, or as I like to call it, Tasty Things. And
it's French. It's not Southern.
Tasty Things.
Tasty Things. And that's Thangs with 6 A's.
Would that be more like Thongs?
Hey.
Tasty Thongs.
Tasty Thongs. And then my last nominee is The Zone of Interest. That's my winner. I'll talk about it a lot more on the next episode, as I also think it's one of the best films of the year. I might talk about a couple of these films, actually, but I'm not going to say when or where on that show. I'm going to talk about it.
It's called Suspense.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's great.
Suspense, which A Zone of Interest has in it.
It does.
The Zone of Interest.
So nicely timed there, Ryan. Very nicely timed. My nominees include The Boy and the Heron, Fallen Leaves, Godzilla -1, Perfect Days, and The Taste of Things. I almost wanted to include a sixth here because I guess Past Lives were not really considering for this category.
I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't either. If we're going to look at it more from an international standpoint, I don't know. It's like that one kind of split the difference for me. So I almost have it there as like an honorable nominee. But if we were to include it, it would have been in my 5 regardless. But still, I found myself questioning it a little bit too much.
I think it's like 65% in English.
Well, that's why we're calling this best international film, to avoid the foreign language part of it.
Yeah. So I wanted to at least make that known in case any listeners are questioning why we haven't talked about it yet, or if we're going to talk about whatever that reason might be. But needless to say, it's still a great film. But of my nominees, I've got those other 5 I listed there. My winner is, I almost don't want to say because I really don't know. I'll say this. It's between Perfect Days and The Boy and the Heron. And they're both among my 2 favorite films of the year. Where they're ranked as being among my favorite films of the year, they're kind of flip-flopping right now, if I'm being honest. So it's kind of a 1A, 1B kind of winner situation, if I'm being honest. But I think they're both great. If I have to give the edge right now, I'll give it to Perfect Days. I just saw it, and that final scene is still lingering with me. And I'll leave it at that because I'll have more thoughts on that lead performance in just a bit.
Okay, my nominees for Best International Film, although I will say I did cheat slightly on this category. I'm willing to admit. I
Okay,
might have
all
broken
right.
the rules slightly here, but
As long as you don't do it again.
came down to what Jay had noted earlier in the sense that foreign cinema this year was astounding.
Yeah.
And I wanted to take advantage of that as much as possible. So, The Boy and the Heron, an international film, I did not include for this category since I nominated it and animated.
Okay.
So, I'm not including it
He's
here.
a fan of the
agree. That's what I
Pattinson
do.
dub.
So, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I am considering Past Lives in this category. It is an international film, at least half international. Half of the production was international. So that's enough for me. I'm considering Past Lives here, as well as The Zone of Interest, Anatomy of a Fall, Perfect Days, and The Taste of Things. Those are my 5 nominees. And my winner for this, we'll get to in part 2. But as you guys are talking about, several of these, if not all of them, in one way or another, will probably be talked about in part 2. Phenomenal year for international film.
Absolutely.